I am a transsexual male to female. I have no problem telling anybody that. You have to be yourself. You can't be somebody else. Eventually, who you are is going to come out. I transitioned, started probably 2011 on HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. I've been transitioning probably a lot longer than that.
I've been a transgender rights activist and educator since 2004, so it's been something that I have really worked towards for a number of years.
I was in the service. I've done every dangerous thing you could think of. Jumped out of planes, and none of them was half as scary as telling my family. I truly thought I would be disowned. When I came out younger, I was actually beat by my parents, brought to a mental health clinic, and they said, fix him. Luckily, they weren't that good at their job. So when I came out later in life, I had a lot of fears. I had fears. I had children. I thought that they wouldn't want any part of me. And that happens a lot in the transgender community. Somebody comes out and their family doesn't understand. So they disown them or they push them away. I was lucky. Everybody in my family's been pretty good, pretty close. I'm an advocate for MTPC, which is a Mass Trans Political Coalition. I've attended rallies, talked to my senators and state representatives about the issues and how they stood on them.
Byron Rushing is one of the primary advocates in the State House right now and has been for many years. Byron has an amazing history of civil rights advocacy in the State House.
I think it's important because we want to make sure that we have made the public policy changes that are necessary so that trans people are able to have all of the rights that they were essentially born with guaranteed in the state of Massachusetts. Just like they should have them in the country and just like they should have them in the world.
Being transgender is different for everybody. Some people are comfortable with just having a hormone replacement therapy. Some people need complete operations to change genitalia and such.
So the non-discrimination bill, which actually we pushed this past session and we will be pushing again next session, that specifically targets the public accommodations piece of the non-discrimination law to add public accommodations, non-discrimination protections for gender identity and gender expression.
We are now working, of course, on the part of the legislation that will speak to ending discrimination against transgender people in public accommodations. So I think, and so what we have to do is to remind our colleagues up here about all the good work and all what they have learned in passing the first transgender civil rights bill.
What we're doing the upcoming year is changing it a little bit. We'll still be hitting the public accommodations piece, but we're adding the piece about birth certificate changes. So the Massachusetts law currently states that in order to change a gender marker on a birth certificate, an individual must have completed sex reassignment surgery.
On top of that, to have legal fees and court charges, it's just unaffordable.
Outside of the State House with advocacy organizations, we have an amazing team and coalition of organizations working on this legislation.
I think what we want to do is to have language that speaks to once you change your gender marker, it is that change of your gender marker should be used as evidence that your gender marker can be changed on any other time that your gender marker is required. And that way the person doesn't have to worry about, have I changed it every place I should change it? Because when the question comes up, or when the or when the gender marker is, you notice is incorrect, you would simply go and say, I have corrected it here, therefore it can be corrected there.
I've had friends who have passed away. They've lived their lives in one gender. They transitioned and they were comfortable and they were happy, and then when they passed away, they were buried as their original gender. And knowing them personally, I know that wouldn't have sat well with them, and unfortunately that's the way the law is. It's an outdated law that needs to be changed.
For me, as a transgender individual who lives in Massachusetts, any legislation that supports transgender equality or gender equality has an impact on my life. As we grow as a society to understand transgender experiences and transgender lives, the advocacy that I have to do in my general day-to-day life as a transgender person becomes easier. I don't have to worry about walking into a doctor's office and having to explain what transgender means in order to just get medical care. I don't have to worry about accessing any public accommodations, whether that be public transportation. I don't have to worry about discrimination in public transportation or discrimination in just going to get a cup of coffee. And so all of these things, any opportunity we have for transgender equal rights legislation, it decreases the amount of education I have to do as an individual in my own life for transgender rights.
No human being should be deprived of opportunity or discriminated against because they're human.
One of the misconceptions about transgender identities that I think relates to this particular legislation is the assumption that transgender people are hiding. That transgender people are hiding something about their identities from society or from their communities. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. Transgender people, by transitioning, by being able to change gender markers, are being truthful about who they are and their identities. That they are people who are assigned a sex or gender at birth, but that gender is not who they know themselves to be.
We're just regular people trying to live our lives just like everybody else. We should have the same rights.
Transgender people have the right to affirm who they are and to live authentically. And this legislation will move us towards that.